Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Coogie Gamer and I'm here and I just wanted to share I wanted to share a story time. This is my first one and I want to know if you guys would like it. But this is the time whenever I had to get surgery on my arm because I broke it. And so at school my friend told me he was like, "Hey Roy, you should come over to my house today." I was like, "Alright." So I go over to his house, and then we're like, "Hey, you want to see who's at the park and see who would play football?" And so we both walk to the park with the football, and we're like, and there's a bunch of my friends. Um, there was maybe about 10 of us there. We were all playing football, and we let like a couple fifth graders play and stuff. And so I was returning a kickoff, and nobody was near me but this fifth grader, and he tried to pull me to the ground by my arm, and so I technically was grabbing him because I was dragging him because he was just hanging out to my arm, and another one came and was gonna tackle me, and he was moving towards my arm, and so I tried to pull that kid towards, but I wasn't fast enough, and that kid ran right into my arm, and the bone just snapped completely in half. It was really bad, guys. And so I started screaming for help. It was really bad. And but like we were all having fun too, until that moment, and everybody was like so grossed out because the bone actually like no joke, the bone actually pierced through the skin. It was like really bad. And so yeah. So after that, I was screaming for help, and thank goodness I forgot what they were called. I think they're like a CER, CPR people, not CPR. So yeah, something like that. They're like emergency doctors that come in fire trucks to make sure that you're okay. And they and then like the girl see like kind of like you could kind of see the bone, and so she pushed, so she like had to like align it together because like my arm was just hanging there. So she pulled my hand up, and holy crap, this hurt so much. But I'll tell you whenever I started to cry, guys. Like all my friends were watching this, and I'll tell you whenever I cry, alright? Alright, so she pushes up and it hurts so much, like I can't move it at all. But I barely feel it, but where I'm feeling it, it hurts so much. But the reason I sort of can't feel it is because one part of the bone, like pierced through the nerve muscles and the nerves, and ooh, dude, it was nasty. And like my arm was bleeding where the bone pierced through. So, and then they got this spling, it was like emergency spling. It was like this mat board. It was blue, and they put it under my arm, and then they tried to flatten my arm, but it wouldn't flat all the way because the bone was like wasn't aligned correctly, and so they were wrapping it around the board, and whenever I asked, and this is what I asked them, like no joke, this is literally what I asked them. I was like, is my bone broken or dislocated or is it both? One girl doctor was like, I'm pretty sure it's both because the bones are not connected at all, and one bone is kind of poking out your skin. So once you get to the hospital, then you will need to get your bone pushed back in place and get a proper splint. And at that moment, I was so scared because I knew that an open fracture means surgery. And and then I was like, "Are all my friends gone?" And then so one of my friends, he was he was like crying because he was like so worried to me. And I told him that I was fine. I told him that I was fine. Like while the doctors were surrounding me, I told them to come here, and they were like, sir, he's not supposed to be here." I told one of the doctors, I literally told them to be quiet. I'm allowed to talk to my friends, and he came over here, and he had like tears in his eyes and stuff, and he got down on his knees. I gave him a hug, and I was like, dude, and I whispered in his ear, I was like, "Don't cry. I'll be okay. Just tell everybody at school I won't be there for maybe a week." And then he had to go home, and he like came up to me. Sorry guys, I have a runny nose. I'm kind of sick. And he came, and then he had to go, and so yeah, and then they picked me up, and like I've never been in an ambulance before. I've just seen them and stuff, and I was like, and I was like, and they picked me up in the ambulance. I was like, is this gonna hurt at all? And he was like, I don't know, do you want it to hurt? Like, I just told him, no, why would I want it to hurt? I just broke my arm. So we go to the hospital, and then we figure out that I have to have surgery. And now I have 2 metal plates, but it's all good now. All it is scars. And next year, I'm gonna need to get the metal plates removed, and it's gonna be like really bad. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Storytime. That was just me telling you guys about whenever I got surgery on my arm. And tell me if you've ever had to get surgery, if you've broken your arm before in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next episode. Peace.